Yeah.
What is Gucci? Hoochies, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Strategic Rants. I'm your host, Ernie, and today we got another local comic in the house. He's a local comic from Covina, and you can catch him everywhere at the Ha. He's been at the store. He's been up at the Improv. You can catch him everywhere, basically in LA. You should also check out his reels. He's got a lot of funny sketches out. Drew Martinez.
Yes, sir.
What up, bro?
How you doing?
Come through, man.
Appreciate you, man.
So it's Drew Martinez? Is that your first? Is that
That's the
full
government name?
That's the government name?
But
okay.
we'll go with Drew.
But on the IG and everything, everybody calls you Drew, right?
Yes, sir.
I like to start my show with kind of a depressing question.
Okay.
Because after the depressing question, it just gets better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So first question for you is: how do you feel about cremation or being buried versus being buried?
I think I'm old school, bro. I think I really like old school, like, you know, sit in the back, you know, like I'm a vampire type stuff. You know, I want to do that. I don't want to get burned. You know, I think I deserve a slot in the ground. You know what I mean? And I know my mom wants to get, you know, cremated, and she's not gonna have a choice at that time, but you know.
yeah. We won't tell her. No.
Hey,
we won't let her know what we choose for her. How about like the fact that you're not really there when they're cremating the body, so how do you know that there's anything in the urn that's actually, you know, of your family member or your loved one?
That's true.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of skeptical about it.
I didn't really think about that, to be honest. I was kind of just saying, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I even want the casket open, low-key. Look at me one more time.
Okay, what are you sipping on right now?
That is orange juice and Jameson, brother.
Okay, some whiskey?
Yeah.
All right,
Yes, sir.
We'll pour out some whiskey on his grave and shit.
Hey, give me a shot. I'll be like that.
Yeah, there you go. Did you ever meet Ken Flores?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to. You know what? I did see him at the Comedy Store. I got done at the Comedy Store, and he was out there, and I said what's up to him. Cool guy. I mean, you know, it was simple right there. What's up? And I feel like that's what he wants us to believe. Is like, if he can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Definitely, bro.
So I really appreciated like everything what he left out, you know. And I got to see him actually perform. He was actually a guesting spot for someone else. Oh, he was for Bobby Lee. Okay. So Bobby Lee didn't show up, and he performed. And I was like, oh, I've seen like his TikToks. I never seen him live. Man, he was a killer, bro. And I didn't think he had, because I always see him do crowd work, so I never seen his material.
His bits.
Right. So when he had material, I was like, damn, this is hitting.
Yeah.
And everything was hitting. And it was like his act outs, everything. The guy was standing there and he was doing act outs, and it was still funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I loved about him. He was just very versatile with everything.
Yeah, I think like in the matter of like a handful of years, he just kind of catapulted into like the mainstream comedy game, and he just like same thing with you. I ran into him one time in Pasadena, and when I got to the club, he was on stage, and you could hear a fucking pin drop, bro. He had the whole crowd just kind of like eating at the palm of his hands, and then when he dropped it on them, like like they would, you know, and same thing. Like I didn't say what's up to him, but I saw him, and like I saw him in person. So he was the way he was interacting with everybody. He was a cool cat, man.
Right.
So R.I.P. to Ken Flores, man.
R.I.P. man. Good one.
But what's your birthday, bro?
July 27th.
Okay.
1995. I'll be 30.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Last years of the 20s, man.
But you know what? It's good that you jumped in the comedy game before your 30s, bro.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have, you know, you're gonna have that perception of like kind of a young OG.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're kind of like you're able to do the premises from like the early 20s still because you're not too far from it.
I think I started at a great age only because of the confidence too. You know, with confidence, it comes a long way, and I feel like that's with growing as well, maturity of what you can take. I mean, I would get down on myself for the things that people were saying because a lot of people now speak at shows. You know, they don't. You know, the comedy is evolving, so crowds are, you know, feeling ballsy as well to be like, hey, you suck, get off the stage. Everyone knows when you're new. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When you have a bunch of killers on there, and they're like, you go first, dog.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and they're like, come on, where the real comics at, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, when I got that, I was like, dang, it sucks, but I didn't get too hung up on it. And I feel like if I would have started younger, for sure, I would have killed myself.
You would have kicked yourself in the head a little bit more?
Drove off that cliff.
Yeah.
So they didn't like me.
They say, you know what? I had too many whiskeys tonight. Yeah. I'm just driving off this fucking cliff right now. I met you at an open mic.
We were practicing, right?
That the homie was having, the homie Sergio. Shout out to Sergio from the Private Suite.
Yes, sir, Sergio.
I think a few months after that, you and I were on the same show in Hollywood.
Yeah.
At the Sunset Rooftop, it was like a cannabis thing.
Oh, right.
Like, I remember if you
Right. That's a little small show, right?
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was all right, man. It wasn't too bad. And then we got a little care package at the end.
It wasn't too bad.
You can't, you know?
Can't beat that.
Can't go wrong. Yeah, you can't beat that, bro. So you were born in 95 and you were born in Covina.
Yes, born in Covina. I actually moved from Covina to San Dimas, which is even further. I used to live by Raging Waters. Okay. End of 5th grade, and then throughout high school, I was in San Dimas.
Okay.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you went from white to like fucking off, you went
Nazi.
fucking pale, bro.
Yeah.
What schools did you go to, or what school did you high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Cantwell Sacred Heart.
Right here in Montebello. What is it? Montebello, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
shout out to Cantwell, man.
Hell yeah.
Cantwell Sacred Heart.
Shout out to Montebello, bro.
Yeah.
I went to Montebello High. What was your first job? You remember your first job?
My first job. Yes. First job was at Norm's. I used to work at Norm's, and I was a host.
Okay.
And I was a host, and they fired me, I want to say on the 2nd month.
No way, bro. What?
Yeah, they fired me. They just said they said I wasn't cutting it. I mean, damn, if I'm not cutting it as a host, I don't know what the hell I was doing.
Damn, bro, you must suck.
I was sucking it, bro.
You must be the worst, bro. You're like, hey, bro, you don't even come in on the right days, bro. You're off today. What are you doing here, dog?
I would take Norm's over Denny's. I'm not gonna lie.
Out of all the diners, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If you saw Norm's and a Denny's, it just looks nicer too. Sometimes the Norms, like how they have them, sometimes they're like nice and built. I'm like, I'm driving there.
Yeah, and like you'll probably find less ratchet ass people.
Oh, 100%. Bro, I'm not getting shot over a Grand Slam.
Yeah, for sure. Not for a moon's over my hammy. And you said now you work at a paralegal office.
Yeah.
How'd you fall into that?
Funny is because I was working as an AC tech at first, right?
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
You had boxes all over the place.
I've had jobs, you name it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make money. You know? So I was working at an AC tech. Bro, they treated me like dirt. Like they treated me like I was Mexican. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is about AC companies that...
Wait, your last name's Martinez, and it took you till you were 20 to get treated like a Mexican, like a Martinez.
They were bagging on me just off the tools I was bringing. They're like, a Roby? Get him out of here.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, what's a Roby?
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, I took me so long to realize, oh man, I need to upgrade my tools.
Yeah. His toolbox and little tykes. His toolbox and little tykes on it. Like, hey, bro, I'm down with your foot. Like, you're gonna cut it by the end of the week.
Just off your toolbox.
Yeah.
I'm not. It doesn't bother me to do work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was never like, ugh, I don't want to do this. But I was like, I think it was the way they were just telling me, and I was like, I don't really like the way they're coming at me. I would do it, and then one time I was posting on my Instagram, and I was like, damn, I need an office job. And then one of my homies was like, hey, I think you should come work for my firm. And I was like, what do you do there? You know, I don't know how to do anything with law firm. He was like, can you file papers? I was like, yeah. He's like, you'll do fine.
Yeah.
So,
he's like, can you read?
It pays the bills. It keeps the foundation where I need to be like, okay, this is stable, where I don't have to worry about money, and I can do comedy. I can progress in the craft and like skits and what I really want to do, which is great because shout out to my company of just letting me work when I can work and the schedules that they give me. It's great. I love them. I think about every day of how I can be better. You know, I always tell all my homies, like, I'm not doing enough. Like, I need to do more. And I think that's just inspiration, though. You know what I mean? Inspiration off other people. Everyone gets inspired by someone. You know what I mean? Like, when people are saying, like, you may be copying someone. I don't think you're copying. I think it's inspired. Inspired and copying are, very fine line with them.
It's a form of influence.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's a form of influence. It's
exactly.
Like, you look at so many artists nowadays, musicians, they took something from James Brown.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yo.
Like most of these dudes.
The samples are crazy, huh?
That's what who were your like major influences to actually do comedy?
But you know what? When I was in 5th grade, I knew I wanted to do comedy. You know, back to school night.
Yeah.
So you had to put what your career was, and I told my mom I wanna do a job where I make people laugh.
Right.
And she was like, comedian?
Yeah.
The fuck you want to do that for? You know, all pissed. You know, they are like, no.
You got a better chance if you being a rapper.
Like, sell drugs.
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
when I got inspired, it was George. I watched George a lot, to be honest, and then I watched Martin Lawrence.
Okay.
And then I watched a lot of Sebastian Maniscalco. There were just a lot of act out comedies, and I felt like that was my wave of like I liked. And I
physical comedy.
Right. And I feel like I want to bring that to people as much. Because that's my comedy. At the same time, bro, comedy every day is different. Yeah. You know, for sure. I can have the same jokes for the same 7 crowds, and I do not know how it's going to go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I tell people when they tell me, like, oh, can I go see your show? Or, hey, can I go? Whatever. I tell them, like, okay, but, like, I'm going to warn you, like, you know, don't get there expecting to see Gabriel Iglesias. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to tell you right now, a comedy show is like a music festival. Mm-hmm. You might have an artist that you really, really can gravitate to, relate to, and enjoy. Right. And then the next act can be some, like... dark. What is this? Like, I don't even relate to this. I can't really rock with this. And, like, I don't...
It's all in the moment.
I'm not really enjoying this. Yeah. And then the next guy after that could be great. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just... That's the beauty of it. That's how it is, bro. Don't get there and expect Kevin Hart 5 times. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know... as a matter of fact, I think going back to the physical comedy, I think Kevin Hart was all right with that. Yeah, he was very pretty good with that. Him too, right? As well. Do you remember Chris Farley? Yeah, that's my. He's my not with comedy, but in sketches, number 1. No, yeah, he was just brilliant, bro. You know what? Like he was an era, a wave that like has brought out so many people to be what they are. Chris Farley, man, I'm gonna get him tatted on my back. No way. Yeah, him, Jim Carrey, and Adam Sandler both all gangbanging me. So I want to get like Chris Farley and Tommy Boy. Right, with the hair? Oh, yeah. Okay, with the hair? Yeah. Easily. Yeah, or I might get him as Matt Foley in his sketches where he's like... Okay. Yeah, with the okay. I might get him as that. I'm in 2 between Jim Carrey or doing him as the Mask or doing him as the Grinch. And then Adam Sandler, it's like between Waterboy and Happy Gilmore. Just do me a favor, dog. Whenever you get that tat... Oh, yeah. Record when you show your mom, fool. Do you remember when was your first time you ever did stand-up? I do. Do you remember where it was at? Shout out to the Nightcap. Love you guys, man. Nightcap. I thought I was going to be doing good. Yeah. Bro. You're like, I'm going to get discovered today. Hey. Yeah, for sure. Bro, sure. I had a solid, like, now thinking about it, a 5-minute set, okay, which is great. Dude, I lasted like 1:30. Yeah, me too. 1.5. And it might have even been 1 because I was going up, hey man, how we doing? Yeah, not, you know, good, started off good, and then I'm explaining, and at that time I was a storyteller. You know, so I didn't know punchlines. I'm kind of just storytelling. So I'm over here like, all right, cool, you know, like there was just one time I was in the backyard and yeah, right? And I'm explaining and then it's pitch quiet. And by the time I'm about to get to my punchline, I stopped. And I was like, oh shit, this is not funny at all. And they laughed at that more than my whole joke, bro. They laughed at me realizing that I sucked. Yeah, you were bombed. Yeah, and I looked at them, I'm like, oh, this is not funny at all. And they said, get off. Yeah. And I said, thank you very much. They're like, it's funny, dog, but not for the reason you think it's funny. Exactly, bro. Yeah. Did those 60 seconds feel like 10 minutes? Oh, bro. I was sweating in 1 minute. How do you sweat in 1 minute, bro? Yeah. So that happens? Yeah, that happens all the time. That day I got up, and the homies were cool. Shout out to Han, shout out to the photographer I had, but the homies were cool. Hey, you did good, dog. Yeah. They hit me with that. The photographer was like, hey, hit me up in 10 years, dog. Yeah. He's like, you know what? This memory card, just keep it, dog. Keep this memory card. I don't even want this. You know? For it being my first time, I don't think I did too bad. Good. But I didn't do the 5 minutes. I had prepared.
Right.
I had
which
planned.
is expected.
Yeah.
Which is expected. You're not gonna make it in this business if you're so hung up at they didn't like me.
Right.
But I do get up. I tell my girl. I tell everyone, don't talk to me tonight. Fuck you. You're one of them. You didn't see everyone else laugh, so you decided to go along with them, huh?
For sure. You set me up.
Yeah.
You told them not to laugh.
100%.
Fuck off me. No dick for you.
Nothing.
Fuck.
Not even a look.
Nah, you know what? It is true. You have to have very thick skin in order to get over those bombs, bro. Because those bombs, until you do good again, you'll think about that fucking bomb. Yep. It's gonna be in your fucking head until you do well again. Yeah. I think it was David Letterman and Eric Andre, and in there, Eric Andre had said something real profound. I thought that he said that he got some words of advice, some words of wisdom from Chappelle, and Chappelle had told him, because Eric Andre was nervous about doing his Netflix special, and he says, yo, I'm going to do an hour, I'm kind of nervous. Mm-hmm. And Chappelle said, you know, you don't have to have them laughing for an hour. He's like, you just have to have them entertained for an hour. Right. You know? So don't feel that, like, if they're not laughing for 60 minutes, or if you're doing a 15-minute set or a 10-minute set, if they're not laughing for 10 minutes, it's not an ordeal. Right. Sometimes they're going to be so engaged to what you're saying that they're going to be quiet, you know? And if you start getting comfortable with the tension in the room, with the quietness and the silence in the room, you're going to get better.
There are times where it's like, it's quiet, and I'm like, am I not being funny at this moment? But it's not. They're just engaged. Yeah. They're listening. Yeah. They're listening. And I'd rather have that than someone in the back like, so what were you saying back there? Yeah, fuck him, Becky. Yeah. You know, like.
And you only learn that with experience, dog. Right. You can't read that. You can't say this study is that. Any talents or skills that you might have besides stand-up, dog?
I tried actually cutting hair for a while. I do still cut hair. Okay. I've cut a lot of people's hair, and a lot of people have not came back.
Yo. Hey, bro.
Shout out to all my customers out there have not come back. I understand. You don't have to say it.
Yeah. All his old customers, he's doing tattoos now.
Come on down, man. Hey, entry fee's $25, dog.
Yeah, and if you fucks up your tattoo, he'll cut your hair for free. So, I mean, in reality, dog, it's a fucking steal.
You know what, dog? I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten a lot better. It's good now. It's good for what I charge. I kind of get into their head midway cut that I know I'm fucking up. I'm like, it's gonna grow back.
Yeah. What's your biggest fear, dog?
You know, I do like a lot of exhilarating stuff. Like, I will jump off cliffs. Like, there's been times where I'm like,
oh, you're the whitest dude I've ever had on my podcast.
Bro, there's people like, I ain't jumping. I'm like, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Pussy. I do like the ocean, but I just feel in the ocean I'm not that strong. Like, I feel like if I'm like in the wild, I will be scared of a tiger, but at least I can run. I have my feet. Like, dude, you're in the ocean. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Yeah. What are you gonna do? If you ever done there's a spot where it's like you go to Long Beach and you jet ski to Catalina Island. I don't know if you've ever seen that ad.
Oh, I've heard that.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
It's great going there. Okay. Catalina Island, you go there, you chill the whole day. Coming back, bro. That right there was like kind of fearful because it's like we're like in the middle of the ocean. Like you can't see a land left or right. You're in the middle. Right. And it's cool and all. But at the same time, it's like, I got a life vest. That's the only thing I got.
I went to Catalina Island last year, and the boat ride from Long Beach to Catalina is about an hour. And I remember somebody told me that they do that. That they go from the port all the way to Catalina in jet skis. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, well, if it takes an hour in boat.
It takes like 2 or 3.
It does take like 2.5 hours or something easily. Like that. In a jet ski. You don't do any exercise and you jet ski for 2 hours, yeah, you'll definitely feel it the next day. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, bro.
If I want to do something exhilarating, dog, I run a stop sign in front of a cop or something. I'll see if I survive that shit. Any peeves you got? Anything that bothers you?
So I don't like that we don't encourage each other off the fact that it's like, we're in the same competition and like you got a show and I don't got a show, and I'm like, I can do that. So I really think when you try to build someone, you try to be with someone, it really affects you in a different way than someone that you barely know. So when someone that you barely know and they're saying, hey bro, you're killing it out there, you're doing great, that hits harder.
I'm glad you actually brought that up in regards to like energy, bro, because like I grew up in East LA, bro. I grew up in the hood, and always gonna be my home, but there's a lot of bad energy in the hood. Your homie can have bad energy, bro, like already attached to him or her, homegirl, whatever. I noticed, bro, that like as soon as I detached myself from that energy,
you started growing even more.
A lot of things started happening for me for the better. You know what I mean? And I, like I said, bro, like I'd rather stay home and learn how to play another song on the piano.
Yeah.
Or I'd rather stay home and write another 5 minutes. I'd rather stay home and watch the game. Whatever it might be, dog. I just want to stay away from that fucking energy, dog. I'm big on that shit. And then going back to about what you're saying about positivity, I don't feel like comics should tell other comics, hey bro, this ain't for you.
Yeah.
The audience
does that job.
Is gonna tell that person, this ain't for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that person might have to be in front of a year's worth of audience until he realizes or she realizes, you know what? You know, maybe the common denominator is me that's not doing so well here. Favorite comedy film, bro? Or any film, matter of fact, for that matter.
Comedy film. Probably Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? It's with that one, like I said, he has so many characters, the way he talks, the way he is.
You put that one over Dumb and Dumber?
You know what? I do, because I felt like that was all him. The best part is when he's tasting the fucking hors d'oeuvres and the guys look at him like, all right, he's like, scorsky, isn't it? And the guy's like,
yeah.
That shit is so childish, but it's like, if you think about it, it's hilarious.
Physical.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Like he don't mind contorting his face around and doing all this stuff. Like,
oh, bro.
When he's at the fucking psych facility.
Oh my.
And he's wearing the fucking tutu. He's
by
like
himself.
Blue 52. Blue 52. You're like, yo, this
bro,
dude is fucking insane right now. Bro.
When you just remind me of that one. I'm sorry, but bro, I might get that one instead. Yo, I'm not even gonna lie. Him and the tutu is monumental, bro.
Yeah, bro, that's fucking classic, bro. That's classic.
If I had to be second, it would be probably Tommy Boy too. But when he's trying to fill up gas, he fucks up his car, and he's trying to put it back, and just his head. I mean, everything he's done of like physical was like a fat guy's doing it and skinny guy's doing it, you know. And it's like he knew he was fat, and he made up with it. He made his fat funny, and I feel like a lot of people are doing that with comedy, and I love that for them because that's your calling, bro. A lot of people be like, oh, I've been fat, you know, my whole life.
I'm trying to hide it.
Yeah. If you're on the stage, people are relating to you more than they're making fun of you.
Right.
You know, and it's an everyday life. It's not just I showed up fat one day. It's an everyday life. You can walk up and be like, hey, you know what? I fucking tripped on a crack today. You know, and it's like, oh shit, I've actually had that happen. It's just like the natural being getting old. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, channel your inner Lizzo, guys. You know, don't be afraid to channel your fat people. We almost have kind of like an advantage because I always tell people, like, you ever seen a fat guy run? It's hilarious. You ever seen a fat guy jump? It's hilarious. You ever seen a fat guy do exercise? Hilarious. You ever seen a fat guy fall? Hilarious, bro. Oh, well. So, like, yeah. I for sure, 1,000%. You know how you hear people sometimes in comedy, you hear people say, you'll find your voice on stage. You'll find your voice on stage. Right. I think what that really means is you're going to be 110% comfortable on that stage. When somebody is naturally funny, just shooting the shit with their friends. Right. It's different when they're shooting the shit with their friends because they're so comfortable. It's their friends, and they're so comfortable, and they just say whatever comes to mind. So when you're in front of strangers, the stuff that comes to mind, sometimes you think about it and you think twice and you're like, I'm not comfortable saying that just yet.
Right.
So I think when people say you'll find your voice on stage, I think what that really means is you'll get comfortable enough to just basically, with a room full of strangers, just speak to them like they were your homies.
Right.
You know what I mean? They were your boys and you're busting balls.
And I think that's what people even ask too, like when they say, like, how does it feel when like everyone's laughing, or like, you know, when you get that stage and it's like, you feel like they're all your homies. Yeah. That's what you feel.
I feel like, you ever play the game Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
You know, Shang Tsung?
Yeah.
When he's just like...
Sucking the soul out of everyone.
Yeah. I feel like that, bro.
Yeah, bro.
For some reason, I feel like, all right, your energy's mine. Your energy's... All right, doggy. Well, I want to thank you for coming through. Before we go, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want to plug in your Instagram? What do you got?
Follow me at Drew Laughs. Drew Martinez. You can shout me out. Funny content, bro. I'm looking to do more content, more for the fans, more for myself, but more in general, just to make people feel better about their lives. I appreciate you having me up.
Thank you for coming through, bro.
No, it was fun. We'll do this again, huh?
Yes, sir. Whenever you want to come through and plug anything, whenever you got a show, whenever you book anything, whenever you want to come through, you're more than welcome.
Appreciate you, my dog.
This is your home, dog. Remember, guys, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Yes.
Right? Got the homie in the building today. Yes, sir. Yeah.